Hey folks, Nate Bukaty from the Heart and Goal podcast here, and we're getting excited for the World Cup. And one of the great ways to be a part of it is the FIFA Fan Fest. The best way to get yourself involved is go to kc2026.com. You can get all the details and register right there. Live acts, entertainments, watch parties, connecting with the world's game. It's the FIFA 2026 Fan Fest right here in Kansas City. Hello, Kansas City. Hello, America. And hello to the world. Welcome to the latest edition of the Heart and Goal podcast. My name is Nate Bukaty, joined by my co-host, Benny Feilhaber. What's up, Benny? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. What are we, like a month away or less now?
Man, yeah, we are less than a month away from the World Cup starting not only across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, but here in Kansas City as well. So we're getting closer and closer. And the party's going to be starting here in Kansas City pretty soon. So today we've got a very special guest. We're going to talk a little history, but also spin it into how it relates to the present with Dr. Matthew Naylor, the president and CEO of the World War I Museum, which is basically the location of the Fan Fest, which ties a lot of things together about this World Cup, the history of Kansas City. And so that's going to be a very fun conversation coming up that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think my daughter actually had a big field day to the World War I Museum this year, and she got to learn a lot about it. And so I need to learn more about it. I mean, I studied World War I in school, but I have not gone to the museum. I've been to the memorial, to the park there. And it'll be, I think, a fantastic location for the Fan Fest. I'm excited to talk to Dr. Naylor.
There is a tie-in, and we'll talk to Dr. Naylor about this as well, to the game of soccer, World War I, and Kansas City as well. I used to play in a tournament every year that they would have called the Truce Tournament, which was in honor of this amazing moment in World War I history, where the soldiers from the East and the West had a Christmas Day truce and played soccer against each other for one day.
No trench warfare at that time.
They met in no man's land, which was a stretch of miles in between their trenches.
I remember that in, what was it, high school that we learned about World War I?
And so, so they did a tournament at where the Fan Fest is, on the same grounds, every year on Boxing Day for about 10 years or so. It was really fun. And so we'll talk to Dr. Naylor about all of that and the tie-ins with the World Cup that are coming to Kansas City. But first, I am going to put you to the test with some trivia today, some World Cup trivia that will hopefully...
You know I'm good at trivia, right?
I know you are. And that's why we came up with this.
You told me it was really hard questions. I'm not really sure. Is it going to be World Cup questions or World War I? Oh, okay, not World War I.
No.
Okay.
World Cup questions that specifically relate to this World Cup, because this is a good vehicle to help people learn a little bit more about what's coming up.
I feel more confident about it already.
I want to say this too. I was actually at my daughter's soccer game yesterday, and I was chatting with some people. We were down at Swope Soccer Village, and I was pointing out to some of the parents, by the way, this is the complex where the England national team is going to be training. And one of the dads said, we need something out there that can help educate people like me that are excited about the World Cup but don't know anything about it. Like low-level 101, teach us about Kansas City and the World Cup in a way we can understand. And I said, well, the Heart and Goal podcast, have you been watching or listening? And he said, no. So we got to keep getting the word out, everybody. You got to make sure you spread the word, like, subscribe, write a review, do all the things that you do wherever you get your podcast for the show, and you can go back and watch all the other episodes, because that's exactly what we're doing here. If you're a person that's interested in the World Cup coming to Kansas City, but maybe you feel a little intimidated by what exactly is the World Cup, I don't follow soccer, I don't know who these teams are, we're here to help you enjoy this process a little bit more.
I've actually had similar conversations with people, whether it's my son's soccer team or daughter's soccer team, talking about watching the podcast. And by the way, they loved the jersey ones.
Yeah.
They absolutely loved it. I think the fans can relate to it a lot because they have jerseys of their own. And so I actually had one of our coaches for my son's team wear I think it was an Old English jersey. I can't remember. I think it was Rio Ferdinand's jersey.
Nice.
I can't remember exactly, but it was a really nice white one with the collar, and So there's
Yeah.
people out there watching and learning and enjoying the show. So we just need more people to get educated so they're prepped for the World Cup. That's what we're trying to do.
This is a perfect way to do it. All right, so you can play along at home. See if you can beat Benny Feilhaber at
good
trivia.
try.
That's what we're going to do here.
No Google or Chat GPT.
Right. See if you can figure it out on your own. These are going to be multiple choice questions here, Benny.
Okay.
All right, we're going to start off with this. You know that this World Cup is the first time it's going to be hosted in multiple countries, the
Right.
United States, Canada, and Mexico.
No, that's wrong.
Well, it's the first time in 3.
Oh, you said
Yeah.
multiple. South Korea, Japan in 02.
South Korea and Japan in 02. Thank you very much.
Okay.
True or false? There are 15 host cities between the United States, Mexico, and Canada for this World Cup.
I mean, the fact that I'm gonna guess true. 15 sounds about right.
The answer is false. 16.
I mean, yeah, but
You didn't know that?
I mean, I could have tried to gone through it. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have known. I think there's 9 in the U.S. Am I right in saying
There's
9?
10 in the U.S.
10?
Yep.
Well, there you go. I would have got it wrong anyway.
There's actually, I beg your pardon, 11 in the U.S. because
11.
there's 3 in Mexico.
And only
You want to
one?
guess the ones in Mexico?
Mexico must be Azteca.
Is Mexico City.
So I'm just telling cities. Mexico City, Monterrey,
Yep.
and
And by the way, that stadium designed by a sports architecture firm from Kansas City
Guadalajara.
and Guadalajara. Yep. You got those 3. Then you've got Canada. I don't know if you want to guess the Canadian, 2 Canadian teams.
2,
or
Toronto,
cities. Yep.
Montreal,
Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's this? Is it the Whitecap Stadium?
I think it's BC Place.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, there you go. And Kansas City is one of the 11 in the United States. Okay, true or false? Mexico becomes the first country to host or co-host a men's World Cup 3 times.
True.
True. Do you remember the years? You got that one.
70, Brazil won in 70, and 86, Argentina won.
And then this one. See, this guy. This guy knows this trivia. That's why we knew you were going to be
Hand
good
of
at this.
God, 86.
Yeah, 1986. Now, so those that don't know, if this is your 101 class, Hand of God, Maradona, tell people the story.
So this was against England in the semifinals, correct?
Argentina versus England.
Argentina against England in the semifinals, and Maradona scored, I mean, arguably the best goal of all time that he dribbled England's entire team from half field, which then Messi replicated almost to the T with Barcelona at one point, but that's a story for another day. And then he scored the Hand of God, which was pre-VAR.
Yep, no video review.
VAR
at
might
that
have taken
time.
that away. One other reason why VAR isn't fun anymore, because you can't get away with the Hand of God anymore.
That actually is like an iconic moment in soccer
It is,
history.
and so the play is the ball kind of came in towards the goalie. Maradona runs in, and obviously Maradona's about half my size, so he would have never been able to head it over the punch of the goalie. But the goalie didn't account for Maradona just sticking his hand up this high up in the air and just like punching the ball over his head, and nobody saw it. I mean, the goalie obviously saw it, the English defender saw it, but the ref didn't see it because it was, I mean, you go watch it back. It's hard to see it the first time, and you don't realize it until you slow it down and kind of pause it. But yeah, he scored that goal, and they won that game 2-1, I believe, or 2-0.
I think it was 2-1.
I think it was 2-1, and then they went to the finals and won. I can't remember against who. Was it Italy?
And
I can't
so
remember who. Germany, maybe?
I think it was Germany.
Can't
I don't
remember who they beat in
That
86.
was a little before my time.
I was 1, so I don't remember.
Maradona, though, also in the post game had a clever quote, and somebody asked him about it. He said maybe it was the Hand of God.
Okay.
And so that's how it became known as the Hand of God goal. So there you go. A little extra trivia for you there. And when you, as Kansas Cityans, see England and Argentina base camping in Kansas City together, there's a geopolitical history that was at play in that 1986 World Cup because of the Falkland Islands war between Argentina and England. They have a rivalry politically and on the soccer pitch, and now they're both going to be staying in Kansas City for this World Cup. So it's pretty incredible. And Mexico, how about the history there? 3 times hosting World Cups. Okay, next question. True or false? The opening match of the 2026 World Cup is the same matchup as the first match of the 2010
I was there,
World
so
Cup.
that's true. It's South Africa against Mexico.
Look at this
South Africa
guy.
won 1-0 on an incredible goal. It was a long last name. Shagalala or something like that. Do you remember who
I
scored?
don't remember the name. No.
He was, oh man, somebody's going to have to find that
Yeah.
information out for us, but because I don't want to butcher his name. But it was, I remember watching that game. I was in South Africa. We were watching it, Mexico against South Africa. It was sort of a not slow pace, but like it was 0-0 for a while. And you could tell it was the first game. It was the first World Cup in African soil. And South Africa, when they scored that goal, it almost like you could feel the whole country shake and be, I mean,
where were you at the time?
I was at the hotel. We were watching the game at the hotel.
But you could just feel it.
I mean, you could just, the stadium was just electric.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the vuvuzelas and all that kind of stuff.
So annoying.
But it was so loud and yeah, it was a cool celebration too, with everybody together dancing. And it was something that I'll remember forever. So,
and this time, and that'll be the first match of this World Cup, Mexico versus South America at the Azteca, which is one of the most iconic venues in world soccer as well. You played in the Azteca?
I have played in the Azteca. We lost against Mexico there, 2-1 in that game.
Okay. What an experience playing in that iconic venue. Okay, question number 4. This is multiple choice. Remember, this is the largest World Cup we've ever had. 48 teams competing in this World Cup. In the past, it was 32, correct?
Right.
Is that okay?
In the past, it was, yes, the past was 32.
It was
8 groups of 4.
Yep. So now 48 teams competing, which means, we'll see how good your calculus is here, the total number of matches that will be played in this World Cup. A, 100.
Oh, I don't need the
B,
12,
104.
12. I don't need you to tell me. 12 times 6, which is per group. So that's 60, 72. And then there's 32 teams. So there's 31 games. 72 plus 31, 103. Is 103 one of the options?
Nope. You're very close,
104 with the third place game?
Boom.
104.
104. He doesn't even need the multiple choice. Okay.
I was like, for a second, I was like, am I forgetting something?
That math was way over my head already, so I'm impressed. The 2026 World Cup will be the 23rd edition of the World Cup. True or false?
Oh, my gosh. Can I have time?
No.
I don't?
Hey, whatever.
30, 34, 38. There was none in... Was there any? No, there wasn't one in 38, was there? Because of the war, 42, 50, 48.
I love how competitive he is with these. I would just be making a random guess at this point.
What did you say?
23rd.
Oh, no. I got to 22. And now I'm wondering if one of the years that I didn't count for World War II, actually there was a World Cup. I'm going to guess. The other one was false by 1. I'm going to guess this is true.
You're correct. It is true. This is the 23rd edition of the World Cup. Okay, number 6, true or false? Mexico has the most World Cup losses of any national team.
Ooh. That could very conceivably be true, because I don't know if they've ever missed one.
Right. You got to make it to the World Cup in order to suffer a loss in the World Cup.
I'm going to guess that's true.
It is true. They've lost 28 times. Now, they do have 17 wins and 15 draws as well, so we're not picking on Mexico here. So there's your answer. Okay, question number 7. You're doing really well, Ben. I think you've only gotten one wrong so far.
Yeah, the number of cities, I think.
How many countries will be making their World Cup debut?
Ooh. Do I have multiple choice?
Yes.
Okay.
3 is A, B is 4, C is 5, and D is 6.
I'm going to guess 5.
The answer is 4.
Oh.
Do you want to try to name them?
Well, I know one is Curacao.
Who will be playing in Kansas City. One featured...
Tell me the region at least.
One featured a former Sporting Kansas City 2, or at the time, what was it called? The Swope Park Rangers midfielder.
Sporting Kansas City. Did I coach him?
No, but you used to
Pry.
refer to him as a replacement for you in the future. I remember you mentioning him one time as that. I don't know where he ended up, because he didn't end up.
But his team is playing in the World Cup for the first time?
Yeah. It's an island nation, small island nation.
In Africa?
It's off the coast of Spain, if I remember correctly.
Is it, the player was, for some reason I'm the last name, but Kevin
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Oliveira, Kevin
Yeah.
Oliveira. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a Portuguese island, right? I can't remember what I'm not going to remember. Tell me.
Cabo Verde.
Cabo Verde. They're playing, huh?
Yep. And then
I wouldn't have gotten that.
Jordan and Uzbekistan
Okay.
are the other two.
I'm glad you gave me those two. I wouldn't have gotten those
all
either.
making their.
Although I heard that Jordan made it. Now that
Yeah.
now that you reminded me, but I wouldn't have gotten that.
Yeah, and it's
are tough.
Another example as to why Jordan better than LeBron. LeBron's never made it. Sorry for the dad joke there. Okay, which team has been runner-up the most times in World Cup history? This one actually threw me for a loop. I don't want to give you I guess that might already be a bit of a hint. But this one gave you... Do you want multiple choice? Yeah. A, Germany. B, the Netherlands. C, Argentina. Or D, Brazil.
I'm going to go with Germany.
You are correct. I would have guessed the Netherlands because they've lost 3 times and never won.
They've lost 3 times in the finals?
The Netherlands have, yes.
Really?
Yes.
I wouldn't have guessed
they've
that.
never won.
How about Germany?
Germany's lost 4 times.
Really?
Even though they have won the World Cup. How many times has Germany won the World Cup?
4, I believe.
West
3 or
Germany and
4.
then Germany, but yeah, they lost in 66, 82, 86, and 02.
Germany's either at least won 3. They've either won 3 or 4. I think maybe 3.
Okay. Number 9, the top goal scorer in World Cup history is. Do you want multiple choice?
Can I guess that
Yeah.
what the multiple choice are going to be?
Yeah.
Miroslav Klose,
Yeah.
Ronaldo,
Yeah.
Messi.
Yeah. You could be redundant with the fourth guess. It's the same name.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah. Those are the 4 guesses you got.
Did Messi pass him? I think it was Ronaldo before, wasn't it? I'm going to guess Messi.
The answer is Miroslav Klose.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought Klose got surpassed by Ronaldo at one point, and I thought maybe Messi passed. How close is Messi to passing him?
I don't know. I don't have the numbers. I don't have the final numbers.
might
here,
pass him this year.
Yeah, it's very possible. Klose, I just remember because as a fan of the Poland national team, really struggled watching a guy who was born and raised in Poland be the all-time goal-scoring leader for Germany.
I mean, that year, I think, what was that year that he scored every game? I think
Yeah.
it was 98 maybe.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He scored in every, but they also had one game that I think they beat Saudi Arabia like 8-0, and he might have scored like 5.
And then he just kept
3.
scoring. Like he played
Yes.
till he was old and kept scoring. Okay, the original World Cup trophy, the Jules Rimet, is that how you pronounce it? Trophy for winning the World Cup was stolen, has never been recovered.
I know where it was stolen.
Okay.
Where I was born in Rio.
Yeah.
It was when I'm assuming I think when you won the World Cup 3 times, I think you got to keep the World
Yep,
Cup. So after they won in
right.
the 70s, they had it there. I know the building that it was in, and yeah, it got stolen. What's the question?
So was that true or false? And you already got it true. Yes, it was stolen and never recovered. They believe it was melted down for gold and sold. Like no one's ever found that trophy
Really?
again. Yeah.
That
And you would
seems
think
like
if somebody stole it
yeah.
to keep it, they would show it off or something would happen
They
with
should
it,
keep it until like now, and then all of a sudden they should sell it on the black market.
Right. You'd think at some point. So they believe it's been destroyed. It was also
bad.
stolen once other time. And this is a story that I was familiar with. In 1966 in a museum from London, England, it was recovered by an investigative dog that sniffed it out, and the dog's name was
Scooby-Doo?
Pickles. Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
No, it wasn't Scooby. It wasn't Scrappy either. It was Pickles the dog found in
Found it, huh?
1966. So
Wow.
you did really well, man. I think you
it?
only missed 2 questions out of the 10. I think you went 8 for 10. That's 80%. That's
Good. I need to get a B at least, or
Yeah.
else my kids will say like, "Well, what
Right.
are you talking about, Dad?"
Right. Okay. Now it's time to talk a little history and bring it to the present. We are ready to be joined by the president and CEO of the National World War I Museum right here in Kansas City, Dr. Matthew Naylor, coming up next. And we're ready to continue with the Heart and Goal podcast with an interview that I'm really, really excited about. And Benny, this is something, I've been telling you about the process of writing this book about the history of Kansas City and soccer and all that. And one of the things that was most enjoyable about the process of writing the book was doing research and diving into the history of Kansas City and what makes it a special place, because that's kind of fundamental to the story of how we got the World Cup. And there's a symmetry to this recurring theme in Kansas City about this effort, these ongoing moments of citizens in Kansas City trying to do something to put Kansas City on the global stage.
Doing something special.
Yeah, and like get the attention of the world and say, hey, we matter, we belong. And this World Cup, I think, is the latest example of that. And what we're about to talk about, which is the National World War I Museum and Memorial, is, I think, one of the earliest examples of that. And the guy that can tell us all about it, and by the way, that's going to be where it all comes together with the Fan Fest during the World Cup, is Dr. Matthew Naylor, the president and CEO of the National World War I Museum and Memorial. Dr. Naylor, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Great. Hey, so great to be with you.
Can we start there? Because I have to admit, as a person born and raised in Kansas City, I knew about the World War I Museum. I never stopped to ask myself, why is it here? And then as I started researching for the city, I learned it's another one of those amazing stories of the Kansas City spirit, so to speak. Can you kind of give us a little brief story on that? Like, why in the world is this thing even in Kansas City?
No, you're absolutely right. It is a great Kansas City story. It's also a great American story. We'll come to that in a minute. Soon after the armistice, 1918, when the war stopped on the Western Front in November the 11th, soon after that, a group of community leaders came together in Kansas City saying, we need to do something to honor those of Kansas City who served and died, of which there were 441 Kansas Cityans who died. And we need to create a tribute for peace. Because, it was believed then this was the war to end all wars. It was over,
Yeah.
And so then a fundraising campaign in 1919, in October, 83,000 households made contributions totaling $2.5 million in 10 days. That's the equivalent of $50 million in 10 days. That was enough to make $500,000 towards the care of veterans and $2 million toward the development of a memorial. But the story doesn't stop there. In 1921, then just we're 3 years out from the armistice, the 5 Allied commanders, so those commanders responsible for the Allied victory from Belgium, France, Italy, the United Kingdom, and the US, they came to Kansas City. 350,000 people came out for a parade down Main Street. And then those 5 Allied commanders on the north side dedicated the land, big crowd, 100,000 people, and they said, this is where the memorial is going to be. National competition, architects selected, the memorial was built at scale, and then in 1926, President Coolidge came here, 150,000 people came out for the opening. And so this is a story of aspiration, a community who saw an opportunity to be able to do something that's good, honoring those who served, coming around a mission that was important to them, but creating it at a scale which was visionary. And then consequently, over the past now 100 years, because this is our centennial, when the buildings needed to be cared for, when it's needed to be looked after, because we all know that it wasn't always in great shape. In the 80s, 90s, it was not in great shape. Community rallied around. And now it's an absolutely extraordinary memorial and one of the world's great museums. And it's because of this commitment that Kansas Cityans have to do things which I think are aspirational. And this is a great example of that. And then the nation fell in love with it, and it became designated by the U.S. Congress as the National Memorial, the National Museum, all to love without any money, but that's okay. No bureaucracy either. But then given the same designation as those museums and those memorials on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. Here we are in the heartland, only national war memorial that's outside of D.C., and it's here in Kansas City, by virtue of the sort of the aspirational view that our those who came before us had to create a monument of scale that was so influential in the history of memorialization.
It's funny to me because I am not from Kansas City. And so when I arrived here, I didn't even know what the memorial symbolized. But the crazy thing is I watch tons of sports on TV, whether it's soccer, whether it's football. There's no basketball here, but I would always, especially football, I always remember whether it's like a Sunday night game, Monday night game, they always show the memorial on TV, right? And you can relate to that as like, that is Kansas City. And so it's not surprising to me that that's where the main Fan Fest is going to take part. But I'm curious as to how that came about, because it makes a lot of sense, right? It's so representative of our city, but I think it's a great place for people to get together.
And really, that's the bottom line. It's the place for people to get together. It's been Kansas City's front porch, for a gathering place, Kansas City, for 100 years. People gathered there. You know, people tell you stories of in the very early days when it was really hot, families had come out there that had picnics that even sleep out there because it was so hot in the summertime. They didn't have air conditioning at home. It's been the gathering place for a century. And so when the question comes up for important parades that are going to be in the city, the big events, very often the decision's made for them to be on the grounds, the 47 acres there that people know how to get to, they know how to move around on, and it serves the public so well. It's not just those big events, it's lots of small events too. Someone was telling me the other day that they broke up there recently and it was so beautiful view that it made it all the much better for them.
But they didn't get back together.
They didn't get back together, but maybe that's a good thing. That it's the place of family photos, that people bring their guests to show them the sights of the city. It's the best view of the city.
I'm assuming there's weddings, maybe?
Absolutely.
Like pictures for weddings,
sure,
and things like that.
And graduations and so forth. So the decision, how's it made? Firstly, we're sort of the gathering place where the front porch is Kansas City. So when the bid was being put together, the Sports Commission said to us, we are going to put this bid together. You guys really need to be a key to this. Are you going to be a part of, if it's here, will you host? Yes, we will. We don't really say no to those things because we belong to everybody. And, like when the 2015 Royals Parade, which was the most amazing experience. And that
you were there, weren't you?
Oh,
I was there. I was there.
There's stories of him getting stuck there for the whole day.
It was like a science fiction movie, honestly.
It was. People just kept coming.
I've never been in that type of massive humanity before in my life.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's how it came to be when they asked the question, where do we want to have this? And then we say, how can we partner to help make this happen? That's the view of us who are responsible for the caring for the grounds and for the caring of the museum and memorial. Our board, our staff, our volunteers, we say, how can we help make this happen for the people of Kansas City?
So I think Benny was saying before we even started the interview, an experience that a lot of us, I think, have in Kansas City, which is you almost are less likely to visit your own museums in your hometown than you are a museum in another town, because there's this idea that it's always there. There's not like a sense a lot of times of urgency. Like when you go visit Washington, D.C., you're like, I got to go visit the Smithsonian, or I got to go to this place. But the World War I Museum, if I live in Kansas City, it's always there. So I do think that that's something we'd love to appeal to people that during this time come down and visit. But one of the things that really hit me about the game of soccer is, I studied some World War I history in college and in high school. I remember reading All Quiet on the Western Front, and that was the first real inside look into the hell that is war, especially trench warfare in my life. It was a life-changing type book. But it was actually watching the game of soccer in the English Premier League, how significant World War I history is in the landscape of European history. I think in America, a lot of times we want to talk about World War II all the time because that was our big celebratory moment or whatever, our big triumphant moment. But they wear the poppies in England when it's a memorial time because of what happened with the poppy fields in World War I. And so I'm curious, when it comes to these visitors that are coming from places like Europe, how significant will it be to them to see the World War I museum when they come to Kansas City?
So there's so many cool things that are happening at the moment that you've pointed to there. There's there's multiple sites of FanFest in North America. The only site that has such historic significance to the roots of the game is here in Kansas City because of all the things that you've just said. Isn't that amazing? And yet, let alone the optics. They're stunning. The way that the site has been set up with the tower in the background, it is stunning. We've got an exhibition called The Beautiful Game that we've created to tell the story that you've just spoken about how soccer was used in World War I for training of the troops, for bringing countries together, for recruiting people to serve in the war. we tell this incredible story of the Christmas truce of 1914. It's said that across the Western Front at various locations on Boxing Day, or on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day, 26th, that people lay aside their arms, they came out of their trenches, they exchanged gifts, they sang carols together, and they played soccer. At various places where people's humanity really came to the fore. People's violence against each other was set aside, and their humanity was expressed by the beautiful game.
Right.
An extraordinary story. So we tell that story about how the game really developed during the war, and then post-war. Then when the World Cup developed, the real championships developed, the teams then spread right across the world as a result of what happened in World War One.
Yeah, it's phenomenal to me to think about that during World War One in the 1910s, right? And the first World Cup being in 1930.
Yeah.
And what soccer not only is, but what it metaphorically is, and what the World Cup also is, right? In terms of bringing people together from all kinds of cultures, every different religion, aspects of life, and everybody comes together to kind of enjoy, like you said, humanity in a way, right? Competition, but humanity, and I think it's beautiful, and it's interesting to kind of get that whole perspective of the story from even before, when there was no World Cup, right? And how it kind of became a symbolism of being human and anti-conflict. And so that's phenomenal. I kind of wanted to change a little bit the topics and be a little bit more general. You moved to Kansas City in 2013?
Yeah.
Same with me.
Yeah.
I moved here in January of 2013.
So I moved to the general Kansas City area in 2002.
Okay.
If you remember, there was a terrible ice storm. Oh, my God. Why in the world did we move? It took me 45 minutes to be able to scrape the ice off the lock of the door of the car to get the key in the car. Now, of course, I would just look at the car covered in ice and realize there's no going out today. But then I was young and naive. But then I moved to the museum in 13.
Okay, can we back up a second? Because your accent is not a Raytown accent. I'm not. So where are you from? Just so people know.
So I grew up in Australia.
Okay.
And
not a lot of ice storms.
No ice storms. Okay. Never experienced it ever. So we moved just like 2 weeks before that February ice storm in 2002.
Oh, wow.
Which was, makes you wonder your judgment when those things happen. But it's been a fantastic 24 years that we've lived here in the area. And then I've been since 13 at the Museum Memorial.
Okay. And kind of what I wanted to talk to you about is, how do you see, because Nate is a Kansas Citian.
Yeah.
I moved here when I was, in 2013? 28 years old. And I've lived here almost entirely ever since. Raised my family here, and I've talked about it on this podcast, what I think of Kansas City. What has your experience been like moving here, making this your home, raising your family here to a certain extent? And so, what do you have to tell the people that are coming here to visit?
Yeah. So for the locals, they need to know this is a great city. And, sometimes when you're inside the fishbowl, you don't necessarily get to realize that, but it's when you get to experience life elsewhere that you see that there's real value. What other city has of this size has the cultural amenities that it does, the many, many work opportunities that it does, educational opportunities that it does. There's not to say there's not significant detractors as well. There's no utopia. Every city has its challenges. But I think that the Kansas City has the ability to be able to rise up and has addressed or continues to seek to address many of those things. Great sporting teams. Easy way to get around. People complain to me sometimes about the peak hour traffic, and I say, well, clearly you haven't lived in any other city then. It's easy to get around. So,
that's one of my favorite things about Kansas City is the lack of traffic.
Right.
So,
and because of the way the roads are constructed, if you find that the one road there's too much roadworks, and sometimes that happens, or it's really congested, you just slip across to another parallel road and you get around. Not too many other cities offer you that sort of opportunity. So lots of upsides to I want to be able to say to locals. And for people coming into the city, they're going to find that it's a friendly city that has great food. Barbecue's great, but there's lots and lots of other really great food.
Yes, I
it's
can
a
attest
much
to that.
bigger palette than just that. great entertainment options, great live music options. It really is a good city. And has lots to offer people who are coming, and fabulous museums as well.
And I think before you get to your next point, I really think, I don't want to get the horse in front of the carriage in front of the horse or whatever, but I do think that post World Cup, some of the most things that we're going to remember in terms of visions, it's going to be things from Kansas City, whether it's the Fan Fest at the Memorial, whether it's downtown at Power and Light, whether it's things that even happen a little bit further away from the city, maybe Overland Park area. I just think that there's going to be something special about what happens here during the summertime. So it's exciting to be a part of.
This World Cup to me has been great because it's caused me to think about, okay, what would I tell people from other parts of the world about Kansas City? And it is such an interesting microcosm of the United States as a whole because it's right in the middle and it is the crossroads of America. And it's complicated. This town is complicated just like the history of this country is. As you said earlier, we've got our challenges, we've got our failures, we've got our triumphs, we've got our, all kinds of contradictions about this town. And one of the things that I think, this ties back to the museum. When I interviewed Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso, for some comments about this book, he said to me, when people come to Kansas City from other parts of the world, they're taken aback by the humility that they see here because the United States is not exactly known for its humility since like the 1700s. That's not what the rest of the world thinks of the United States. But you come to Kansas City and you find a humility here. And I think one of the interesting ways, Dr. Naylor, that it really manifests itself is that most of the war museums that I've visited in this country celebrate the American part of it. Even like when you watch Saving Private Ryan or movies like that, there's a criticism from other parts of the world where they say, that was a great film about America's involvement in the war, but there were other people fighting in it as well. The World War I Museum is not that. It does not just celebrate America's involvement. It celebrates the entire global, or not celebrates it, but it honors the entire global involvement.
You've touched on a few really important things there. We assume that people don't know much about World War I, and so we unpack a really complicated story into very understandable elements of that. What was happening leading up to World War I? And then we tell the global story, including the American story. And you're right, most museums don't do that. None of our peers do that. Our museum here in Kansas City is unique in that respect. So you get a much more holistic understanding, and you're able to come away with their understanding why in the world did the world go to war over like a 6-week period. Now the equivalent of about 116 countries being swept up into this war, which was catastrophic, including drawing the US into it, and then it having such a profound impact on the future of the US and its standing in the world. So I think that we are unique in that respect. Secondly, it's not a rah-rah USA museum. We honor the sacrifice and courage of those who served, and we confess war's horror. And those things, they live together.
Yeah.
We want to speak of the heroic courage of so many who served, including millions of Americans, and we tell that story. And at the same time, it's a reflection of our brokenness that we find ourselves at war. And those stories are told at the Museum Memorial. And truly, many people in Kansas City, I haven't been there for a long time, or I came as a kid and I need to come back and see it. And I would encourage people, don't be embarrassed about that. It's time to come back.
Yeah.
When I say that it's one of the world's great museums, I'm not just blowing smoke. It's not just a PR exercise. This is what others tell us, and other museum professionals and those who give awards, this is what they tell us. This is what TripAdvisor tells us when they rate museums right across the world. In the US, there are 35,000 museums. We're rated in the top 25. That's something. And so what people can be sure of is when they come, it's absolutely a world-class experience. And over the last 3 years, we've done a huge amount of upgrades that this museum tells the story even more compelling with technology which is really engaging.
Well, what I could say about all this, though, Nate, is I'm disappointed in myself that I have not gone to the museum. I've lived here for over 10 years, and I haven't gone. But as I'm talking to our audience, whether you're a Kansas Citian like myself that hasn't gone or hasn't gone in a long time, maybe you went as a child and now you're an adult and you can see things from a different perspective, I think it's time for us to appreciate that. And for visitors, right, I think it's a fantastic it's a symbol of what Kansas City is, what they're able to do, right? Maybe a small person packing a big punch, so to speak, and also the humility that you talked about. So I would encourage everybody that hasn't gone or hasn't gone in a while and visitors to come and visit the museum.
And I would say a guy like you has an excuse now because of the soccer exhibit.
Yeah.
And to build back on that for a second, some people might look at it on the surface and go, World War I and soccer, that's a bit of a stretch. How are you tying these together? For a while there, the World War I Museum had a soccer tournament called the Truce Tournament, which was one of my favorite events to ever play. Two-time champion, by the way, Benny. Wow. And your buddy Kai Kamara played with us one year. It was a 3-on-3 tournament.
He was lucky to be on your team.
He was lucky enough to be on our team, right. Yeah. We carried him,
Of course.
But it was a 3-on-3 tournament on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. And we would watch all the Boxing Day matches in the theater, come outside, play our games, come back in, have a beer, watch the games. It was so much fun. And some of the stuff that I started to learn about it, Dr. Naylor, was you talk about no man's land and trench warfare, where these guys are living this miserable existence of being bunkered in a rat-infested trench in the middle of wintertime, just waiting for the bombs to start dropping on them again and hoping that they didn't land on them. And all of a sudden, it wasn't the generals, it was the soldiers that said, I don't even have anything against that guy over there. Let's have a truce. And the game of soccer being at the center of one of the only rays of sunshine in this horribly dark moment in world history, I think that's an incredible tie-in. And as you said, in a world right now that has conflict and has problems, soccer has the ability to bring people together in a summertime. So what will people see when they go to the exhibit? How long is it there? How can people be a part of it?
You bet. The exhibition, the beautiful game, was through till the fall. So right through the summer, you can come and experience that. And we're open 7 days a week from Memorial Day through then till Labor Day. And even when FanFest is on, you can, even on the off days that FanFest is not in operation, the museum's still open. So you can still then come into the grounds and then be able to come to the museum memorial. So the beautiful game is one of our exhibitions. We have others like Paris at War, talking about what happened in Paris during the war. Our main exhibition, which tells the chronological story of the war. We have this new open storage, which is we brought thousands of objects out and just put them behind glass for people to see. It's fantastic. And then we have great technology, great touch screens, lots of things to explore. One of the objects in the beautiful game that is really appealing to me is a soccer ball that was kicked by the Irish Rifle Brigade across the Battle of Loos as the troops advanced. And that ball that they followed that sort of helped build morale, like you were referencing earlier, that ball is in the exhibition. People can come and see it. It's very cool.
How amazing is that?
It doesn't seem possible.
Right. Like, how could that ball even survive the war, That's amazing. Okay, so what else, before we're going to move on to a different topic here in just a moment, what should people know? How can they be a part of it? How can they support the World War I Museum? What's the biggest message you want to get across? Because I also understand, by the way, that you're going to be moving on from your responsibilities here in not too long.
So we're 100 years old this year. That's a big deal. Kansas Cityans have stewarded this place for 100 years, and it is in the best shape it's ever been in now. Because of the generosity of people of Kansas City. They believe in this place, and it's the gathering place. We want it to showcase the very best of Kansas City. So during the FanFest, come out, enjoy it, come to the museum. Then after that, in the fall, we've got some fantastic events planned, including, you might remember in 18, we lit the tower in poppies, and then in 23, during the NFL draft, we did that again. We've commissioned 3 artists to create video mapping installations that help celebrate the ideals that are expressed on the memorial. Honor, there are 4 guardians at the top of the memorial that look over the memorial. They're big stone guardians, 40 feet tall. If you look up, you can see them. Honor, courage, sacrifice, and patriotism or love of country. And we've commissioned artists to create installations that celebrate those virtues and the idea of the memorial as a beacon for democracy. The boys left Kansas City in 1917, 1918 with other Americans to respond to President Wilson's call to help make the world safe for democracy. If that was their purpose, then this memorial is a beacon to democracy. So we've commissioned these artists to create these video mapping installations that we're going to be showing over an 8-week period from the latter part of September leading up to Veterans Day, November the 11th, 2026, which is the conclusion of our centennial, that will blow people's socks off. Come out and experience that. We want people to think about these things that make us who we are. Who do we want to be as Americans coming out of our 250th celebration? I say this to someone who's taken citizenship. I'm a citizen of Australia and the United States. We need to be having that conversation. What's our shared narrative? What are the things that we share together that are important to us? And that's what we're leaning into. The idea that memory is only important when we carry it forward. That when we're able to take those things that were important for our forebears, those lessons, those virtues, those ideals, and interpret them for the future, that's so important to us. So we're inviting people to come out in the fall and celebrate that. There'll be plenty of PR about that. You'll hear about it. But I tell you, it's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen before. It is the renderings that we're getting from these artists off the charts. Absolutely stunning. It's going to be exciting to engage the community in a conversation when they go home to say, man, that show was so incredible. And then it leads to conversations about what's important to us. How can we serve others like those 100 years ago served Kansas City and the community?
Okay. As an adopted Kansas Cityan, these questions we're asking to everybody that comes on. When the dust settles from this World Cup, what do you want visitors to say about Kansas City? What do you hope that the media will say about Kansas City? And what do you hope that Kansas Cityans will say about the experience of hosting this World Cup?
So I would hope that people leave Kansas City saying that's a great city, that they had a really great experience. It was a safe experience. It was really a good family experience. I would want Kansas Cityans to say, "Wow, we pulled this off," and look at what we can do, and we can do more. That we are a world-class city.
Last one for me before we get to our 5-a-side. So, as a dual citizen. Australia and the United States, when those two come face to face in the World Cup, what kind of internal struggle are you going to be facing?
I tell you, I'll be tortured, won't I? I think I'm going to need to put my U.S. passport to the side for during those moments. I just hope that happens. It would be a really great. They tell me there's 26% chance that that's going to happen.
They're in the same group, aren't they?
They are, yeah. So it's exciting.
Okay. Two of the only countries I can think of that actually refer to it as soccer, by the way.
That's right.
So
I think it's catching on, though.
Yeah, it's catching on. It's catching on in both places. Okay, are you ready to play our 5-a-side game?
Give it a try.
Okay, this is the game where we each pick our own top 5, and we want you as an audience, once again, to weigh in here. Tell us who has the best 5. So we're going to go, as an Australian, I don't know if you're a fan of watering holes or not, but we're going to pick our top 5 watering holes. And Nick, our producer.
I'm going to take last.
By the way, I also want to say this before we move on. I want to give a shout out to Chris Weish and Jake Yodrich, 2 former Sporting Kansas City people that really helped Sporting Kansas City become something special. Working at the World War I Museum.
Outstanding staff and doing exceptional work for us. We got an incredible team.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you want to go first then, Benny, or do you want?
For
should we have our
watering
guests?
holes?
Yeah.
That's a bar?
Yeah, it's a bar, basically. A place where you have a drink.
Let me go last.
Okay. All right, Dr. Naylor, you're the guest, so you get to go first.
So one which might be off the track for a lot of people is the Black Dolphin. on Baltimore. Is it on Baltimore? Black Dolphin. Anyway, it's next to the Green Lady Lounge.
Okay.
So it's a jazz
Been
bar,
there,
but it's
yeah.
a great watering hole.
Okay. The Black Dolphin.
Yeah.
That's pick number 1. I have to start. And by the way, Nick, sorry, he said outside of downtown and the crossroads.
Oh, it doesn't count. Downtown doesn't count.
But I think I'm gonna lift that restriction because I think that's a good shout, and that's even a place I didn't know about. So we're gonna lift that restriction here. But I'm gonna go to my hometown of KCK and Brits Stein and Deli, which is right at the base of Strawberry Hill. The Brittenstein family owned it for a long time. One of those
deli? That sounds like a sandwich place.
Well, you can get sandwiches there sometimes, but it's a
watering hole is I'm
it's a bar.
Understanding it well. It's
it's a
for
bar.
Alcoholic.
Yeah,
drinking.
you're having it's a bar.
Okay.
Yes, but that's what
I'm gonna
Brits
have
is.
a tough time coming up with
Trust
5
me.
different places.
Well,
you realize that,
do your
right?
best.
So you got one? I got another one.
We're gonna go back and forth. We got 5
I'll go
picks,
with
each of
one. You're gonna have to help me with some
Okay.
of the names, but I have gone out to Power and Light a few times for country concerts and hot country nights. And the one place that I love to go to, but I don't remember the exact name. It's something Howlett. Is it Howlett the Moon?
Howl at the Moon.
The piano
Yeah, the
bar,
piano-
dueling
the dueling
one.
piano place.
Okay, so I like going there. Obviously,
Okay.
I mean, you can get probably any drink that you get there in most bars, but it's
Yeah.
a lot of fun listening to people play piano, and you get to have your
Yeah.
requests, and they usually take your requests, and so
Okay.
it's a fun place to go.
You get to go again now because we're going back the other way.
All right, well then I'm gonna go again at the Power and Light
Yeah.
area there. And you're gonna have to help me. My wife would probably be mad at me for not knowing the name of it, but where all the country, there's line dancing and
Oh, the PBR,
yeah,
right?
I know it's 3 letters. PBR.
Yeah,
That sounds
they got
right.
The big,
so those are my 2
Okay.
spots that I've been
right.
to most recently. I'm not a big drinker, so
Not a big
you don't
watering hole
find me.
guy.
You don't find me in the bar too often. But those 2 places I've been to, and I have a lot of fun when I go there.
I mean, I was raised Catholic, so I
So you drink?
I know
is what
my
you're
way
saying.
around a watering hole or 2. Okay, so my second pick, I feel like I want to try to spread love around to some different parts of the city. I was always a massive Charlie Hooper's guy. Charlie Hooper's in the Brookside
Sure.
area. I am older now and have kids, so I don't know what the routine was. There used to be like a rotation. I think it was Wednesday nights was a good special night at Charlie Hooper's where you could get some cheap libations, but always was a good crowd. So Charlie Hooper's in Brookside, one of my favorite
that's a
spots.
good one. I like
Okay.
Charlie Hooper's too.
Now
They're
you get to pick
They're
two 'cause
open
you
till
get-
late, which is
Yeah.
good. All right. So here's a weird one. We are. You mentioned that we're relocating. So I'll finish up within a year at the Museum and Memorial after what have been 14 years of providing leadership there, and we're going to relocate to Australia. So we're in temporary housing at the moment, in between, and we're above Whole Foods. All right, so there's apartments above Whole Foods in Brookside. So there's a great bar at Whole Foods.
Really?
I tell you.
At
and on
Whole Foods.
At a Friday night, there's a jazz band that plays. So when my sister visited from Australia, I said, look, here, we're going to take you to a unique American experience. We're going to go to the supermarket and we're going to get a drink at the bar and listen to jazz music. Blew her socks off. It was totally the funnest thing. And it's a regular crowd who's there. It's a lot of fun.
You look
Give it
like
a
you don't
try.
believe it.
Well, I'm just
You're
thinking
skeptical that this is true.
I'm
or?
trying to convince a lot of non-Kansas Cityans about the vibrance, whatever you
Of
call
a
it,
local
like the,
supermarket.
Yeah, what are the best bars in Kansas City? The Whole Foods. That's the nightlife we've got going in Kansas City right now. Dr. Naylor, you're not helping my cause here, but maybe it's great. I got to check it out before I knock it. You get to go with a third round. pick
Alrighty.
now.
So also
Any
on
other
Baltimore.
supermarkets that you'd like to-
any other supermarkets. That's right.
Yeah, there's a nice one by Hy-Vee, I heard.
Down on it's a hamburger joint down on Baltimore near.
Oh, Thunder? What they go? Tropic?
No,
Tropic
not
Thunder?
not that one. I'll have to.
Town Topic, that's
I'll
what I
have
was
to.
thinking.
That's a fun one, isn't it? But I'll have to. I'll have to
I
remember.
think I know what you're
it.
talking about. A burger joint down in the Crossroads
It
area.
is where they make great smash burgers, and it's a
Yeah.
great bar.
Yeah.
I will Imperial Brewery.
Okay.
That's it. Imperial
right.
Brewery, and it's great. That's a good watering hole and really good burgers and such too.
this probably should have been my first pick because it honestly I think is my favorite spot in all of Kansas City, and it's actually historic and iconic, and it's been there for a long time. You mentioned a couple of jazz places. The history of jazz music in Kansas City is really important and significant. My favorite jazz bar in Kansas City is the Phoenix, which is on the north side of downtown, right across the highway from the River Market. And man, I used to spend a lot of time at that place. Live music, really cool vibe. To me, it's kind of like one of the OG jazz places in Kansas City. So I'm going with the Phoenix.
Awesome.
You need some help here?
No, so I'm thinking back to places that I've gone with my wife, places that when my buddies have come to visit, we've taken them. And so I'm going to go, I don't know if this is really considered a bar or whatever, but the Boulevard Brewing Company.
Sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And they have a tasting room.
I've actually gone. I've gone through the whole experience. Right. The tour or whatever it's called. It's a lot of fun. You get to taste local beers, and so I'll put that as my number 3 option.
That's a fantastic one. I get number 4.
Number 4, I'm gonna have to. This is for my wife and her girlfriends. This is down in Overland Park, and again, especially for the visitors, it's a worthwhile attraction. Guitars and Cadillacs, where you can line dance. You can have a lot of fun. There's sometimes live music, obviously DJ music as well, but a lot of country stuff and a lot of dancing, and it's what a lot of Europeans might see in the movies if they ever see a Western film or a movie down in the Midwest or whatever, where, man, that looks like fun. Let's go try it, and that's the place to do it.
Good shout. Good. That's a good shout. Very good shout. So I'm going to go with a chain, actually, for the second one, but it's local, and I believe the original is in Lawrence, Kansas. But I'm going with Johnny's Tavern.
Okay.
Because to me, in Kansas City, if you want to know about the culture of Kansas City, at the very forefront is we like to watch ball games. This is a sports-loving town. And to me, all of the Johnny's locations in town, whichever one's in your neighborhood, the whole key to a good sports bar is they know how to get any game on that you want to see. And if I want to watch a Champions League game in soccer, that a lot of places would be like, what is that?
How about a World Cup game?
World Cup game? Well, the Johnny's in the Power and Light District would be my number 1 because that's the home of the American Outlaws. It's the home of the Kansas City Gooners. It is a celebratory place to watch soccer for sure. But all the Johnny's across town, great food. The game's always on.
The wings.
The wings are
A+,
phenomenal.
yeah.
Love the wings. Their pizza's actually very underrated. So I'm going Johnny's Tavern. Now, Dr. Naylor, you get your 4th and 5th round picks.
All right. Well, 4th. So you just mentioned the Phoenix. So the Majestic.
Ooh, yeah.
Is been a great place for us. I've taken lots of people there, especially downstairs, and they make really great old fashions. So and they're large, like really big. So that's
with the big ice cubes.
There is, but the glasses are large, so that's for me. I think one of my favorite places to go to, and even on the main level there, the floor is fantastic and the bar is beautiful. So that's a great one. And then maybe in Brookside, the Brooksider is I think
great spot.
Great spot, especially with games. There's huge number of screens. Pretty much any sport any games that are on, you can watch there, and they'll separate them inside and outside if they're dueling teams. So anyway, it's good. I like that one too. It's just a good drop-in place with family.
Okay. Now I got to make my 5th pick.
You don't have it?
Well, I have a bunch of different places in mind, but I'm trying to.
You have too many?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of one over here.
I'm trying to think of which one I want to go with. I feel like. Is it Llewellyn's that has Das Boot in Waldo? I think that's Llewellyn's Pub in Waldo. Waldo, I feel like just needs to get some love right now because that's one of the best areas in Kansas City. But I feel like if I'm struggling to tell you the actual name of it, then I probably shouldn't pick that place. I'm going to say Llewellyn's. I believe that is the home of Das Boot. It's where you drink.
Yeah, Das Boot is from a movie, right?
Yeah, well, it's a big German
But
thing,
what was
right?
the name of the movie?
I don't know.
Isn't it called Beer Fest? I want to say it's something like I've seen the movie with Das Boot where the guys all go down to Germany and they have to. It's a race to finish the beer, and then you got it. But there's like a trick to turning. He's giving you the answer.
Yeah,
he's got to turn the boot so that the water pocket. You don't remember or the air bubble doesn't like smash into your face. God, you guys, I think it's called Beer Fest or maybe Euro Trip.
I feel like I've just been exposed as being way lamer about my watering holes than I thought I was. But yeah, I'm going Lou's, and I think that's short. Is that not short for Llewellyn's? It's just Lou's. Okay, Lou's in Waldo, Das Boot. That's my 5th pick.
Okay. Let me see. Last one. I'm gonna give a shout out to my good friend Ike Opara. It's not gonna make it. I don't even know if Harpo's is still there at Westport. Is it?
Yeah.
It's still there.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
I would normally say
Iconic
that one
place.
because I lived close to Harpo's in Westport, and Ike used to be down there back in the day quite a bit. And I'll give them, an honorable mention. But I'm going to go, and you might have to help me here. Plaza, I want to say it's called the Fontaine or Le Fontaine or something like that.
The Grand Falloon?
Oh, I don't think that's it. No, it's kind of like a little bit West Plaza, I want to say. Now, my wife would know it again.
So the hotel, it's at the bar
Yes.
in the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's maybe you go up a few floors and there's a beautiful indoor-outdoor area.
The place that I went to was on the ground floor, though. Do you remember the name of it?
Well, it is in the Fontaine.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's maybe what it's called. I can't remember for sure. Don't quote me on it, but maybe once we find out and we can put the graphic there for the podcast, they'll find the right name. But I'm trying to describe it as best I can. It's a really nice, trendy place, classy, very good drinks. They make quality cocktails there, and it's a nice place to take your girl for a date or potentially a nice out with friends.
Well, I think we've covered some good spots. I do feel like you bringing up Harpo's means I also should. Kelly's in Westport needs to be thrown out there as one of the iconic watering holes in all of Kansas City as well. So they get some honorable mention love. A lot of places. You will not. And by the way, I think the bars are going to be open 23 hours a day during the World Cup as well.
That's crazy.
So if you're coming to visit.
Very European-like.
Yeah. You're going to have plenty of places to go and plenty of time to drink. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
We're going to get some football fans turning into soccer fans this summer, aren't we?
That's going to happen for sure. And hopefully some people that develop a real appreciation for the history of Kansas City, its role on the global scale. And Dr. Naylor, you've really helped us learn about what's going to happen at the World War I Museum and the Fan Fest as well. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, no, great stuff. It's got an exciting season coming up for us. And we at the Museum Memorial are really pleased to be at the heart of it and are doing all that we can to create a fan, to be able to ensure that the grounds are ready and that the Fan Fest experience is going to be outstanding. And, of course, all that time the museum and memorial is open. And, it's a time for locals to come and see what a treasure that is already here that people are coming from around the world to see.
Yep.
Just one more reason, if you're from Kansas City, to puff your chest out a little bit, put that heart KC on your chest, and welcome people to Kansas City and tell them why this place is so special. And it's not just because of the bars we have in grocery stores. It's much more than that. So our thanks to Dr. Naylor and Benny for being here as always. We're going to see you next time. Make sure that you like, subscribe, weigh in with our questions. See how you did against Benny in the trivia. And we will see you next time on the Heart and Goal podcast.